public participation as indicated on the agenda, and you guys have signed that. So at this time, I'll call the meeting to order. If you could join me in the pledge.
Alright, squiggle up. Yeah, you can.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
I did it. It's all good.
Considerations of agenda additions or deletions, we have none tonight. Invitations to members of the audience to speak to items on the agenda. I do have everyone's paper here that wants to speak to item number 2. I will give you guys an opportunity to speak on that when we get to that item. Communications, we have none. That'll take us right to the superintendent's report.
Alrighty, so my first report tonight is the teacher evaluation report, which I am required to give you in the month of July. So our teacher evaluations, we had 56 teachers that scored in the highly effective range, 50 in the effective, and 3 teachers that were labeled as needs improvement by their administrators' evaluations. I am not required to report administrative evaluations, but I felt like I should since I report the teacher ones. So of our administration staff, we had 2 that came out as highly effective and 10 that came out as effective. So as you know, we did some administrator evaluation changes where we made it a more goal-based evaluation, trying something a little bit new. There will be some tweaks to that I'll bring to you at a later date. And then we'll go into Lakeland by the numbers. So I wanted to talk just a little bit about the federal grants that are currently being withheld. We received about $200,000 last year between Title 2A, 3A, and 4A. Those are all grants that are currently being withheld. The Title 1C grant is Migrant Education. That's not one that we typically use. So Title 2A, we use that to pay for mentoring stipends, TLC stipends, pay for new teachers during the new teacher academy, our multilingual conference, per diem for that, the master's reimbursement program that we have for our teachers, and a percentage of the salary for our director of student and staff success. Put my glasses on. Title 3, that award is one that we do in conjunction with Prairie Heights. We're a consortium for this. It pays for part of our EL teachers' salaries at both of our elementary schools, pays for the elevation platform and a Kahoot kit for those the EL teachers, pays for our family event nights that we do, and a Dinolingo online language program that they use with the students. It also pays for registration for the state multi-language learner conference, and for Prairie Heights, it covers the elevation program. In Title 4A, that money is earmarked for student support and academic enrichment. We use that to cover our student assistance program with Bowen, the Gaggle program that screens technology use for mental health issues and has a free counseling component. I'm sure that it's used for some other things, but I didn't have the grant application at the time in front of me. So I just wanted you to know what some of the things that you use those grants that are being withheld for and how much money that was that we are currently waiting on to be released. Other numbers to talk about, I reported at the end of the school year what our enrollment was, so that has not changed from the last meeting. Then I wanted to share some information. Jamesy Lemon, our business operations director, and I went to a conference that sponsored by the School Board Association and the Association of Public School Superintendents. And I thought the most fascinating speakers there were these demographic experts. And I never thought I would say that demographics were interesting, but these guys really were. And they talked about the birth trends in the United States and the state of Indiana. And I know that I've talked to you about this several times, but sometimes it's better to hear it from other people. So in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, Indiana, like all of the United States, we built lots of new schools to accommodate the baby boom students as they entered the school system. Following the baby boom from 46 to 64, births in the United States and Indiana declined very sharply through the 60s and the 70s. We had a rebound in the 1980s to 2007 that I had never heard this phrase before. They called it the baby boomlet. And that occurred only in 14 states, and Indiana was not one of the states that had a baby boomlet. Maybe why I didn't hear about it before, but the U.S. matched their baby boom peak in '92 and in 2007, and Indiana never reached within 25% of its baby boom peak again. So you can see the blue line is the national average for birth trends, and the red line is Indiana. So we mirror the national average, but are much lower than the national average. They also talked then about what's the impact of that, and then I tried to, on my slide, show you what the impact here at Lakeland is of that. So in both the United States and Indiana, those large birth cohorts in 2007 and 8, they're graduating now. So that's why our class of 2025 was 128 kids, and our class of 2026 is 152 kids. It's a very large class. In contrast to that, our incoming kindergarten, as of yesterday when I looked at the number, was 86 students. So we lost 128 to graduation, and we have 86 coming in to replenish that number. So there is a very big cohort imbalance. That is a problem everywhere. These demographers told us that this is a long-term issue. It's going to go into the 2030s. So declining enrollment is going to continue throughout the state of Indiana into the 2030s. So they also said that districts in Indiana would need an average of a 3% net in-migration annually to offset the effects of this, which means from somewhere out of state in the mythical universe, every school district would need to bring in 3% more students than what they just have within their area. That's a big number. So that is my report today.
Thank you. We'll go to the treasurer's report.
All right, so for the month of June, we are at 50% of the year. We have collected $6.7 million under our ed fund, or 50.82% of our expected revenue. In our operations fund, we've collected $4.2 million, or 59% of our expected revenue for operations. We did receive our money from property tax collections in June, so that helped. And then for expenditures, we have spent $6.9 million in our ed fund, or 45.11% of our expenditure budget. And in our operations fund, we have spent $3.65 million, or 44.3% of our expenditure budget. With the revenue budget, we're at 52.3% expended and 50.4% in the operations. So we're on target with our revenue and expenditures there. Let's see. I'm not sure what else to talk about there. See our updated graphs that we've done now for showing the breakdown of where we spent money for education and operations, and how, the percentages broken down where we're at for the year. So most of that, sorry, I cannot see from here. I don't have my sheet in front of me. So we're pretty steady, I think, from last month to this month, if I remember right. At like 31% for operations and salary, and was it 60? Is it 62? Sorry.
64%.
64%. Sorry.
Education.
For
salary.
the sorry, I can't. I think I'm like I'm
Yeah.
blind right now.
Yeah.
For salary for ed fund. So everything's pretty steady, I think, in those expenditures for the month. You will see that we did have a little bit more of expenditures in the ed fund this month. In June, we had teacher contract payouts that were done, so that's why you see that extra.
Red.
Yeah, your red number that I told you wouldn't see.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why. So that would been, retirement benefits and things like that going into that number, as well as just the actual payout of the money salary part of their contract. So, any questions for me?
Is there any questions for Jamison?
No.
Thank you.
Great.
School board president's report is next. I'm not gonna report on anything today. We'll keep the meeting moving. Item number 1 is the special ed co-op agreement.
Correct. Every year we do an annual agreement with the special ed cooperative. There were no major changes from last year's agreement, other than East Noble has gone out on their own. So they had given their 18 months of notice, and that has ended, so they were removed from that agreement. So I ask that you approve the cooperative agreement for special education services.
Entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second from Shelley. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. None opposed. Item number 2.
Item number 2 is our gymnastics program, which I know is why we have a full house today. So I will go through my slide and let you know the reasons for the recommendation that I am making. There are currently 16 1A and 2A schools that offer gymnastics, and only 3 of them are able to field their own teams at their own school. The rest of them do partner with a larger school.
16 in the state.
16 in the state, 1A and 2A. Of those 3 that are able to field their own teams, only 2 can hold practices on their own school campus, and only one of those 2 does not have space, or one of those 2 does not have space for a full-length floor, so they're practicing their vaults for the shorter run, and they can't host meets at their school. We are the one school that do have the facilities to do that in the 1A and 2A schools. We have been unable to fill our coaching vacancies with qualified coaches. Gymnastics is an incredibly specialized sport. It also has a very high risk of injury, so having competent coaches is a very important piece. And that is what bubbled all of this conversation up to the surface when we did not have coaches. So this program this year had 7 varsity athletes and 8 junior high athletes. Our varsity gymnastics has been at 7 athletes for the last 3 years. In contrast, girls varsity wrestling has gone from 0 participants to 9 participants in 3 years, so a growing program. Our coaches come at a cost of $6,225 a year for varsity and junior high. Our springboard floor is in need of replacement. We got a bid on that, or an estimate on that last year at $18,000. Junior high uniforms are also in need of replacement. That would cost anywhere between $1,500 and $2,800 according to Mr. Yoder. The program has lost between $1,700 and $5,000 annually over the past 4 years. Officials cost between $2,000 and $3,000 per year, depending on how many events are posted. $1,886.95 was spent on the hospitality room, ribbons and trophies, and event workers over the past year. So, in summary, first of all, the recommendation is because we cannot fill the coaching open needs that we have, or at least we were not able to as we were advertising them. And secondly, this would save the district approximately $30,000 to $40,000 over the next 2 years by dissolving the program. In dissolving the program, we have talked to Angola, and they are willing to host some of our gymnasts as part of their program so that our upperclassmen can finish their career. They would train and be coached by the Angola coaches, but they would still be Lakeland athletes. They would wear Lakeland uniforms, and they would be scored as a Lakeland team at all events. So we have talked to them. The limit, according to the IHSAA, is 3 gymnasts. Is that correct, Mr. Yoder?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is their rule, not our rule. But we did want to try and find a way that we could at least have our upperclassmen finish their careers with us. So that is my recommendation at this time.
Okay, does the board have any questions for the superintendent before we move on to public comments?
On the junior high athletes, it says 8. How many of those are gonna be incoming freshmen coming up? Brian,
Let
you know
Ryan
that?
answer that.
So I went back and checked it again today. There were 10. It kind of varied a little bit because they weren't all there at all the practices. But at the end of the year, we had 10 junior high athletes that got a certificate last year. So there were 10. 3 were 8th grade, 7 were 6th grade. There were no 7th graders. So there would be 3 incoming
We
freshmen.
would have 7 again.
If everybody came back from varsity and from junior high, there would be 7.
And as of right now, there wouldn't be any 7th graders. Or obviously won't be for another 2 years. Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, I will move to these sheets. Obviously, as you guys seen, we're gonna try to we will limit this to 5 minutes per presentation. So, obviously, if we're repeating the same thing over and over again, we'll try to add value to the discussion. I really hope that this will be a constructive, meeting and process, so it's actually nice to see everyone here to support this program. Nice to see all of you come out and support your athletes, student athletes, so I personally appreciate it. So I'll just start with how Rob, had them here, so Bob Bond, you're first.
I'd like to go last, please, because the girls are way more important than I am.
Okay. Makaya? All right. Go ahead.
So I noticed in the recent advertisement that you guys made, that you guys uploaded it maybe about a month ago, I noticed you guys showcased gymnastics, I think more than any other sport in the video.
Mhm.
I think especially putting that as a new advertisement, and when you take something away that you advertise the most. And although we may not have the most upcoming people coming up into our sport, I think it's a unique sport that also other gymnastics communities rely on us, and that wouldn't just dissolve Lakeland gymnastics program, it could dissolve other people soon in here because they rely on things like our invitationals and our sectionals, and just having another team to compete against in general, so it could also shorten their season or, dissolve their gymnastics program.
Oh, those are very good points. Thank you. Linda, you're up next. Do you want to go?
Can we do it together?
Sure.
I can put them in any order, I guess.
Yeah.
What kind of a tag team?
That's-
Well, we have been for many years, so if you don't know us, I'm Cheryl and this is my sister Linda, and we have coached Lakeland Gymnastics for 28 years together, or collaborated together. So it's been a solid program. We've had many regional qualifiers over the years. Just this past season, just as recent, we have one in Elena Rasta that went. We have 2 girls that are going to, we have college recruits to Trine for acro and tumbling. And we actually have a letter from the Trine coach in support of that. She was very outspoken about how much she appreciates the feeder into their program and how acro tumbling at Trine. You made a statement with a valid coach. I agree, it is a very specialized and unique sport. It's a lot of equipment and technique to navigate, and that's an understandable, valid point. I would also say that it is a winter sport. We're in July, and we don't really understand how we would make a decision this swiftly when it really doesn't go into season until third week of November. So having an ample time frame to actually find, those, like you said, it is specialized, very, very unique coaching. So they're not going to be so quickly to drop at your door as far as a qualified coach. But we would ask for an ample time frame to find somebody to fill that position and actually, be able to keep this program going for so many of the girls that it does affect. And it doesn't, I know we said a lot about just having 7 girls, but if you look across the state of Indiana and all the gymnastics programs, it's actually pretty average, if not more than most. Angola went to state with 4 girls. DeKalb state team, 4 girls. We actually have a good size, and our numbers really haven't decreased over the years. We have stayed pretty consistent. And yes, we don't have any 7th graders coming in, but I would like to say that we have no seniors graduating. So even though no 7th graders will be coming in the following year, there are no seniors graduating next year. So you will still have the same amount. And then when those 7th graders come in, we'll have an even bigger squad. But with all that, I feel we understand that the coach is the valid position, whereas all the other items we feel have valid solutions to. Like, they're not issues that can't be resolved. We have fundraised all through, we have plenty of people that come and say, hey, we will help with what we need to be done. The floor in itself, does the bottom portion need resolved? It does. It's needed. However, we are still functional the way it is. We've held sectionals the last 2 years. That equipment is inspected very thoroughly. The judges come in and inspect that equipment, and it has been held up just fine. I think Lakeland has such a great facility. We didn't have this when we were in school. We didn't have these auxiliary gyms, and we have all this space, and it's really amazing to see that. And so many opposing schools have commented on how our facility runs and how our meets run and how smoothly everything goes. And that's in part to everybody that makes the facility run as smoothly as it does. And so I think in all the monetary values can be resolved through solutions of fundraising and there are things that we can do as far as judges. There is no state rule that you have to have 4 judges per meet. Knock it down to 2. We can, some of the invitational fees, we have a pretty hefty schedule. We can probably back out of an invitational, combine dual meets, so we're not having 2 separate dual meets, 2 separate judges, sets of judges, combine them and have more tri-meets. If that's the case, we can do that. And
4 judges have 2.
Yeah, and instead of 2 meets with 2 judges each time, we would cover those 2 meets together. So I feel like all those items have solutions. The coach, we understand, and we are in motion of trying to make that happen. But we would also ask for an ample time frame to do that. I mean, being July, it just feels a little premature to just say, let's do it now. And as you can tell, we're very passionate about it. It's been
back when our older sisters were in it back in the 1980s, and we've been involved with it ever since.
But it has been a flourishing program, and the girls that come out of it, they're learning, it's not just balance beams and flips, it's hard work ethic, falling on your face and getting back up, and creating strong, independent young women to that future and better their skills as they move on. And we would like to do anything in our power to keep that moving.
You talked about how well the invitationals go. I'm sure that's a large part of, like, you guys have a lot to do with that, right? The coach has a lot to do with how the meets go. I mean, do you guys have a lot to do with each and every individual meet?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it does take some, and even though we weren't on staff as head coaches this year, it's something that we are willing and enjoy doing.
Okay.
So we don't don't let that be an issue, because we would have no issue coming in, and we've had several many past parents that completely volunteer their time and say, they might get a check for working, but many of them say, you don't need to pay me, I would come anyway.
Sure.
And they're gladly to be there to support this program that has just flourished over the years.
We were also offered, like, just 2 years ago, of getting the new floor, but then that kind of stopped after we had said that we were gonna resign. So that was in the order of it a couple of years ago already, that there was money to be used to get a new floor. We've had that floor ever since 2004, was it?
We got the top layer.
Top layer was 1997. The bottom layer was 2004, and we built that floor ourselves. A lot of it was donated, and we did it ourselves. We made it ourselves. But the top layer was 1997, and it's held up ever since then. The bottom layer was 2004 when we made it. And we have not asked for anything, and we haven't gotten anything in many years, except for our leotards, which was, our last leotards were in 2001, I believe.
2021.
No, 2021.
Yeah, 2021, sorry. 2021 was our last leotards, but we have maintained our equipment. We take care of. The things that happen is when people come in and borrow our stuff and it doesn't come back the way it's supposed to, and we don't know where our stuff goes a lot of times when we go back in our room and just And for instance, I was just in there a little bit ago, and there's a few things that are missing that people have borrowed, but I don't know where they're at. Well, I did see the one that was in the gym.
What do you borrow from gymnastics? I'm sorry.
Well,
Or mats.
I know one year they took the mat to the fairgrounds for the,
Mats, okay.
yeah,
The cheerleaders.
cheerleaders, yeah.
But our stuff comes back, sometimes not the way it's supposed to. And we don't mind anybody borrowing our things. It's just bring it back, take care of it and stuff. But we have maintained our stuff. Our stuff is very nice. We have nice equipment, and we don't ask for much. I mean,
And most of the equipment in that room, I would venture to say probably 80% of it has been through fundraising and donations, and which tells us that a lot of this monetary part can be a solvent.
Ryan, can you tell me the deadline that you would need to find a coach? I know you said originally July 1st, 2 board meetings ago. Would you like to, I thought that's what you had mentioned, but how long are we able to let this continue to percolate? Like, how long would Angola need to know that we have 3 athletes that we're going to be coming to them for their program?
There isn't really a hard deadline. I think it's just for the sake of planning and organizing. I mean, I would not want to dump that on them at the last minute. We already have a schedule in place for next year, like as far as contracts and stuff. Even if we were competing with Angola, we still have to have contracts for our team. So that's already in place. We would need to know about hosting as far as invitationals. Like if we were not having our own season, we host an invitational, we'd have to let other schools know, hopefully with a decent amount of time, so they can maybe find something different to go to. So there isn't a hard deadline, but I mean, when you're talking about a winter schedule like that, you really want to have it in place by the start of the school year.
I have to ask this. The major reason is coach. So you didn't really come right out and say that you know somebody. Do you know somebody? I'm not asking you who, but do you have somebody in mind?
We have several people in mind. So as far as a solid yes, I would say no, but we do have several people we are talking to see if we can make something work.
Okay, I'm not trying to be ignorant when I ask this next question, but because gymnastics, as we all know, is such a specialized sport, you can't learn it from a book. Are the people that you have in mind qualified?
Have experience, yeah.
Have they coached before?
Some yes, some just have experience being a gymnast.
Are they planning on applying, like in the next 2 weeks or so? Or
I really couldn't say that for certain. It's still in the works of trying to figure out what they can go out with their schedules and things like that.
do you have an idea of a date that maybe we could consider as the board when we're making this decision? Because it sounds like we can't leave this really open-ended. Maybe we could push it to the next meeting or something to vote on, maybe. But like, do you have enough people that would probably apply in the next couple weeks or so that we could count on? Or
I really can't say that for certain.
okay,
I will say that an ample time frame, in my opinion, is at least giving it up to a point of fall sports. I can remember 30 years ago being in a board meeting on this very same topic. I was a sophomore in high school, and we didn't have a coach at the time. and it's the, I mean, coming in to doing this is just like an all flashback for me, even though it's been 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But, and I will never forget it. Parents, everybody worked together, and we found a coach, and we started December 1st. Was it a late start? Yes, but we got it, and we got it in there. And then we've been going ever since.
Ryan, what would be the latest? The very, very latest.
She's trying to pin him down.
And I can say that
Well, I mean, the first day of official practice, when they're allowed to have practice every day, is like the first week of November, first or second
I
week
think
of
it's
November,
third.
third week of November. Okay. Second or third. Yeah, it's November is when their official practice would start, like everyday practice.
No, I meant for you as an AD.
Well,
I think he's telling you that we need to have a coach in.
most
place
of
by
it is
November.
already in place as far as
Yeah.
the schedule and stuff. I just, transportation, other school schedules. I don't like making changes on other schools at the last minute. And if they were joining Angola, it would, that's a big adjustment for Angola as well. So I just don't want to dump it on other schools at the last minute.
So, we had also set July 1st as a goal because we wanted the girls to have time to comprehend all this and to decide what they were going to do, whether they wanted to be a part of the Angola team or they wanted to do a different sport or whatever. So it was in part because we wanted to make sure they had time to.
Well, and in regard to Angola, who puts the cost in them going over there paying for Angola's facility, and where does that all come from?
Half hour there, half hour back.
Mm.
Driving, what about winter conditions safety of the girls?
From what I could see from Ryan's notes and his conversations with the other 1 and 2A schools that do this, it varies. Some of them, the schools provide the transportation, some of them they do not. So I would like to provide that kind of transportation and do that service, but I don't know if we have the facilities to be able to do that.
I'm gonna keep going through this list so I can get through it. Fran is next on my sheet.
Hi, I'm Fran Bailey. My daughter was a gymnast, and she graduated in 2001. And being just a little over 5 foot and taking gymnastics classes since she was probably 6, this was her sport. It was the only varsity sport that she really could do. And it was a good experience for her. She learned patience, she learned failure led to success, and I hate to see other girls that are in her situation, because most of the girls that are in gymnastics, they don't just walk onto the team. They've been taking lessons for quite a while, and so that's a big financial investment from the parents, who are the taxpayers, and so with thoughts of doing high school gymnastics, they're not thinking of the Olympics. I would be a volunteer. I get paid to work the scoreboard, but I would definitely do that for free. And I know that my daughter was in at the time when gymnastics was going to be discontinued, and my husband and I did donate, and I know that we would be willing to do that again for equipment, ribbons, and things like that. So I just think that if a coach can be available, I think that that's something that would definitely continue. And I think that it did go well into it was after school had started before were able to locate a coach, and it really didn't affect the season. We all just went on, and we only had one coach, but we had parental help, and there was no, it just all worked. So I think that we should just keep, I think that we can make it work. And, we don't have to spend as much money as we did. We can do, like I said, we can donate things and,
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and thank you for always being there to work.
yeah.
The next one is Cheryl.
That was me.
Cheryl from Sturgis.
That's me.
That's right. Yeah. Reggie.
I do
you're
have
up.
more I can say if you
Yeah.
want.
Reggie, you're up.
Hi, my name's Reggie. I'm going to be a junior in high school this year, and I've been a competing member of this team since 6th grade. I have looked up to this team from the start of kindergarten, being in the kids camps, and still now, where everyone associated inspires me to be better. I have been a gymnast for about 14 years, so you can imagine my disappointment when I heard this news. Gymnastics has helped me find my confidence, step outside my comfort zone, and grow as a person. I love every aspect of this sport, from the sometimes frustrating and difficult 2.5-hour practices to the most fun minute and a half where I get to display my personality and dance my heart out in a meet. From the starting salute to the end of the routine, I enjoy every moment of it. All those tears, hard work, and skills earned would be for what? Not knowing it was my last time competing and never getting a senior night for the sport that made me me would be heartbreaking. Lakeland having the only gymnastics program in the county should be something we celebrate, promote, and be proud of, as it sets us different and helps us with the so-called destination corporation we wish to be painting. Not something we should be giving up on. I have found a family in Lakeland Gymnastics, and it would be devastating if the wrong choice was made. And I'd also like to speak on behalf of Anna Pettit, who could not be here with us tonight. She says, I have always been a part of gymnastics at Lakeland. Since kindergarten, I remember going to the kids' camps up until 5th grade. In 6th grade, I tried out for the team and wasn't skilled enough to be on it. I thought about quitting, but instead I decided to be one of the team managers. I'm so glad I did, because the next year I was part of the team. Today I can look back and say gymnastics has changed me. Every coach and player helped me grow, not just as an athlete, but as a person. I am pleading with you not to take away the Lakeland Gymnastics program, if not for us, but for the younger generation of little gymnasts who have dreamt about the day they can be on the team.
Thank you. Kathy.
I wasn't sure what to share. I am Kathy Wicke. I am the oldest sisters, Belinda and Cheryl. And I've been a part of gymnastics since 7th grade, and through the years helping my sisters in the team, just because I love the sport. It's in your blood, it just stays there, and you just want to be a part of it. And I would hate for this to be the end of this era, because it is what all girls have said, what coaches and parents and things like this. It doesn't just affect these immediate gymnasts, it affects the families, the friends, the community, the other teams in the area. I'm just in support of continuing figuring out how we can get a coach. I don't know what the process is for other coaches, getting other coaches for other sports. I don't know if the board helps find them. I don't know, but I think giving you a chance, a little bit more time into the fall season, and even into November, that you would be finding a quality coach to keep continuing. And now you have a whole community that's willing to back them up and help them make it an easy transition.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Evans in the back there.
Hi. As far as the coach goes, I can't do it full time because my husband works nights and we have a little one. I could do it 2 days a week. So if anybody in here wants to help, or I could even try 3 days a week. And then I have something that I wrote, but that's all I can help with the coach situation. Gymnastics has been more than a sport. Gymnastics has been more than a sport in my life. It's been a lifeline. During a childhood filled with uncertainty and challenges, gymnastics offered me something I desperately needed: stability. It gave me a safe place to land, both physically and emotionally. Through every routine and every practice, I gained more than just skills. I gained strength, confidence, and resilience. I formed friendships that felt like family and learned how to face difficulties and determination with grace. I'm not currently able to coach, other than the 2 days, But my passion for gymnastics remains as strong as ever. I know firsthand the impact this program can have. It has shaped me into the person I am today. And I would be honored to coach one day, even if it means just helping one girl like me, because sometimes one opportunity is all it takes to change a life. Please don't let this program disappear. Gymnastics isn't about just the flips and the ribbons. It's about giving young people the tools and to believe in themselves no matter what they're going through.
And she was also a regional qualifier.
For an event.
Thank you. Teresa, you're up.
Hi, my name is Teresa Shipley. I'm a teacher here at Lakeland, but more importantly, I'm here as a parent of a former gymnast to help encourage you to keep the program. Throughout my daughter Emma's participation in gymnastics, I witnessed tremendous growth and transformation in her. She's definitely grown physically, of course, her overall athletic ability, but more importantly, she's grown emotionally and mentally. Her self-confidence, resilience, determination. Those of you that know Emma know that she's one tough cookie. I would love to take all the credit for that, but unfortunately I cannot. Gymnastics has helped to shape her into the amazing young lady that she is. It's taught her discipline, time management, and the ability to handle pressure. One example is that while at a meet, multiple meets, but one in particular, she fell off the balance beam and during her routine, and she was hurting, I could tell, but she took a moment, she composed herself, she got back on that beam, she finished her routine, and she ended with confidence and a smile. In many sports, I've seen athletes in frustration, getting upset, throwing down their helmet, throwing down their headgear, throwing the ball, but in gymnastics, these girls fall down, they pick themselves up, they compose themselves, and they finish their routine with poise, confidence, and a smile, which is not always easy to do. As a teacher, I know there's a lot of skills I can teach in the classroom, but sports, especially gymnastics, teaches kids many things that we can't do in a classroom. Emma's going into her sophomore year in college. She's a two-sport athlete in college, and she's been able to use those time management skills to manage her time between sports and academics, and she did great in athletics, but she also maintained a 3.9 GPA due to a lot of the skills that she learned with gymnastics helping in that. Many of the skills I see in her today are because she participated in gymnastics. I know as a sport, we have small numbers, we don't put the people in the stands like football and basketball, but that's not what it's about, or at least it shouldn't be. Last I checked, school's a not-for-profit organization. If we truly want to be a destination corporation, we need to invest in these kids and their futures and let the profits be the life skills and characteristics that we help to build in these students by giving them opportunities to participate in a sport that will help shape them into confident, hardworking, successful young adults who pick themselves up when they fall, who manage their time, who don't give up when things get tough. All of these skills we try to teach students from the moment that they set foot as little kindergartners here at Lakeland. So let's have some Laker pride and be that destination corporation that we've set out to be, to give all students opportunities to develop into amazing young adults like my daughter. Participating in gymnastics has definitely helped shape Emma into the amazing person she is today. So don't take this opportunity away from our other little Lakers. I see one over there. She's a spitting image of my daughter, and it just would make me sad to see her not get the opportunity.
Thank you. Scotland.
Okay, so yes, I'm Scotland, and I graduated from Lakeland this spring. Today I'm a college acro tumbling athlete at Trine University, and that never would have happened without the Lakeland Gymnastics program. I've competed in gymnastics for 15 years, 7 of those being on a Lakeland team. Gymnastics is so much more than flips, vaults, and routines. It teaches discipline, resilience, teamwork, and mental strength. These are not just athletic skills, they are life skills. I've seen teammates and myself struggle with anxiety, stress, and self-doubt, and I've also seen gymnastics pull us through. The gym is where we learn how to fall and get back up, literally and figuratively. The opportunity to compete in college played a large role in me pursuing secondary education. Without those years of training, the support of my coaches, and the lessons I've learned, I wouldn't be where I am today, a student athlete representing my school at the next level. Cutting this program doesn't just end a sport, it closes doors, takes away a direct path to college for students like me. Gymnastics gave me a foundation to earn my spot on a college team, and that same opportunity should exist for the next group of students walking into the gym for the first time. If we remove this program, we aren't just taking away mats and medals, we are removing an opportunity for students to discover their potential and be a part of the family. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just go right so we can get the athletes. Allie, if you want to go.
Hello, I'm Allie Shackle, and I will be a junior at Lakeland this coming school year. I have decided to come here and speak tonight to show how important this program is to me and others. I've been doing gymnastics for about 13 years, and I've been a part of Lakeland Gymnastics program since 6th grade. This program has taught me many things, such as perseverance through the hours going into nailing parts in a routine and working through frustration. It has taught me leadership and kindness by helping teach and shape young gymnasts while also being good teammates. Gymnastics has taught me how to not just be kind to my teammates, but to be kind to everyone around me, like cheering on other competing gymnasts and building relationships that will last outside of just the sport. It has taught me confidence and trusting in my body's ability to do hard things. By gymnastics primarily being an individual sport, it has taught me that I have to trust and put in the work I want to get out of it, while also helping others accomplish their goals, because in the end we're competing as a team. And knowing my team is counting on me to do my individual best, so as a team we can all be successful. I do understand the need for a coach and new equipment, but what I'm asking here tonight, have we looked through all of our options to save this sport, even if gymnastics might have to look a little bit different, so we can continue to offer this opportunity to myself, my teammates, and any other future Lakeland students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Elena Rassler. I graduated from Lakeland this year, and I've been part of the gymnastics program since middle school. I remember, as a little girl, wanting to be a gymnast, and I'm lucky enough to have gone to a school that has gymnastics, and I got to live out that dream. Dissolving this program may help save a small amount of money for the little girl out there that has come to our kids' camps who is so excited for her future to become a gymnast, and that is worth more than any amount of money. I genuinely wouldn't trade my time at Lakeland Gymnastics for anything. I found a family through this program and made so many memories that I will never forget. You may know that this year I also got the opportunity to compete at regionals for this sport. That opportunity was the highlight of my whole high school career, and I'd hate to be the last person from Lakeland to represent our school at a high level. Dissolving this program means removing the opportunity from current and future gymnasts, and I believe that my current teammates do have a chance of moving on from sectionals, and that they don't deserve to have that opportunity taken away. I am also continuing my athletic career to be an acrobatics and tumbling team at Trine University. This would not at all be possible without the gymnastics program here at Lakeland. I urge you to think about all the girls that we have attend our camps each year and imagine their faces when they find out that not only will there be no more gymnastics camps, but there will be no more gymnastics at Lakeland. Thank you.
Thank you. There you go.
My name's Cammie. Cheryl and Linda aren't just coaches, but mentors. And about 2 years ago, I broke my leg, and I spent 9 months with no leg. Couldn't walk. So not only in a year did I learn how to walk, I learned how to backflip so that I could be on the team my senior year. I think my love of gymnastics actually healed my leg, believe it or not. I think I might even still be limping right now. And I broke my leg on the floor I competed on my senior year. I would also like to say that if they would be training with Angola, their competitors would literally be teaching them. And it is hard enough to compete against your own team. I mean, literally going to a coach. Angola is very good, like very good team, but we compete against them. And when I moved to Lakeland my 8th grade year, we didn't have a competitive cheer team, and I spent 9 years doing competitive cheer at a facility in Elkhart, IU, Indiana Ultimate. And gymnastics was my only option. They helped me so much, honestly. I can't even express my gratitude towards them. We don't have a competitive cheer team, and our last cheer coach resigned. So I don't know if we have a cheer coach now or how that is going, but it was not a great season my last year on the cheer team. But my last year on the gymnastics team was amazing, and I thank them a lot for that. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Jaylee. Okay, that's okay. I am down to 3 here. Mark.
I'm Mark Brandenburg. I'm Jaylee's father. She competed last year for the first time. I'm kind of new to all this. She has, since she was right before her second birthday, she was diagnosed with juvenile arthritis. She has halfway done just about everything. Sorry. She was introduced to gymnastics at 5 years old. Her love for gymnastics has grown and grown and grown. She has constantly said, "Can't wait till 6th grade so I can be on the gymnastics team." When it finally came, she was nervous. She didn't really want to do it. She tried out anyway because it's a passion for her. She told Coach Hollowell, she said, "I don't know how good I'm gonna be." She said, I'm not very good. I have juvenile arthritis. Both of my knees hurt." Coach Hollowell encouraged her, right along with Linda and all the others. They encouraged her. And what they did was they taught her determination. They taught her to hold on to her passion. They taught her to fight through. I have seen this kid go from, "I don't know how good I'm going to be," to, "I can do it." She falls off, she gets right back up there. She loves the game. That's one of her favorites. And to see this determination that has grown with my child, it's something that a father just loves. And I know the other parents that are out there, they have kids that have the same passion. But when it comes down to it, they're scared, they're nervous. But their parents help them. They push them. The coaches, they help. This has been something for Jaylee that all through the summer, all I've heard is, "I want to get back to gymnastics." She even asked me to build her a beam. So I went and got 4x4s and I built her a beam. I mean, this kid, she eats, sleeps, gymnastics. It's her passion. It's something that these kids, they see the high schoolers, they see them trying. It's something that I feel we shouldn't take away. It's something that I feel that it's something for these kids that gives them a reason to try. It's something that these kids have something to look forward to. Before then, she was high academic, she was a bookworm, she liked that kind of stuff. She tried other sports. Nothing was like gymnastics there. For me, I just want to say this is something we really should not take away. This is something that we should work at. Yes, it's not football. Yes, it's not the main sport that everybody is like, "Well, I want a Lakeland gymnastics shirt," or it's. What I'm trying to say is, these girls, they feel this way. This is their passion. This is their sport. So I am in support of doing whatever I can as a father and a member of the Lakeland School Corporation. However I can help, I'm here. I'll help.
Appreciate that.
Secondly, I wanted to ask about the Angola thing, like if they're going to go to Angola. this is news to me. I haven't heard this. What about the people that, you know, don't get off work till 4 or 5 o'clock, and, you know, we've got, like they said, half an hour drive there, half an hour drive home. I mean, since I work for Lakeland School Court and I'm in the transportation department, I don't get done till 4:30, 5 o'clock. So I was curious on how that's gonna work for the parents of students that are in gymnastics.
So those are decisions that haven't been made at this point because there's no decision on what we're doing. But like I said, it's mixed. Some of the school districts provide transportation when they're paired with another, and some do not. So without consulting transportation and knowing whether or not we can do it, I don't want to say, oh yeah, we would definitely take them, because I don't know if that's physically possible with our bus routes.
Okay. Thank you. Lisa.
Hi, I'm Elisa Shacko, mom of a current gymnast, Allie Shacko, and I just want to take a few moments to express my concern for this very, very impactful decision in Lakeland athletics. I think my biggest concern comes with how this all came about. Susie resigned in May. I think her resignation went in May, and then it was posted, and then all of a sudden, it's on the board minutes to dissolve the program. There has been no discussion with any of these girls. Had Linda not posted that, nobody would even know. And that feels dirty and shady and just really gross for girls that didn't even know. Like, had we not had this opportunity, had we not known that this was coming to this board meeting, that just doesn't feel great. Like, I feel like we could have had I'm very much don't come and complain if you don't have a solution. I can't coach gymnastics. I'll gladly drive them to a meet, or something, but I'll provide food. I'll help do, I'll pay for the hospitality room all year long. If that's what it takes. But I guess my concern is we never even got the chance. We never even got the chance to come with solutions. I understand the big problem is the coaching. And it is downright impossible to replace a Cheryl and a Linda. I mean, absolutely impossible. But you have two fabulous women who are ready to support anybody that's willing to step in and help. They did that with Susie. I mean, and it just took Susie saying yes, and them, I mean, they traded off, they, all out of the goodness of their heart. And it's not that we want them to work for free or want them to have to be tied to Lakeland Gymnastics, but that's who they are, and the passion that they have, and the passion that they have put on all of these girls who have told you what it has taught them. And everything that Teresa has said about Emma and the teaching of the grit and falling down and getting right back up and finishing with a smile on their face. I agree with her. You don't see that out of very many of our athletes anywhere, not just at Lakeland. And so I guess that's my biggest concern is, like, we say that we wanted the girls to have time to process, but we gave them no time to process. We just said, this is what we're doing. And like, as far as numbers go, we couldn't have a JV girls basketball team 2 years ago. And we didn't just immediately go to cutting that program. And, what was said was that there was 10 junior high athletes, but there was a ton of fifth graders that were turned away. That were because there wasn't enough space and uniforms and all of that. The fifth graders, at some schools, fifth graders are allowed to compete with the junior high, and they weren't allowed to this year because there was 8 to 10 girls. And so that, to me, is frustrating. Our
our little girls camps that the girls have mentioned going to bring 50 to 70 campers. I can't think of any of our other sports that bring in that many campers to their little kids camps. And I think just finally, and it's been brought up, like, we want to be this destination corporation. Destinations offer things that other people don't. That first bullet point statistic, that right there is a destination. We are one of the only schools that offer that. We showcased it 5+ times in our hype video. I went back and watched and counted. We showed that at graduation, not even, or just over a month ago, and now 5 or 6 clips out of that are no longer going to be true. That's not something that we are hyping. So I guess I'm just asking for time at this point to find the coach, time for these girls to process, time for our community to process and figure out how we can help with some of these things before we just make this decision that is obviously very life-changing for many of our girls. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob, you're last.
Okay. My name's Bob Bond. I'm a community member. Some of you know me, some of you don't. So I'm here to talk about numbers because I've never been a gymnast, nor do you want me coaching gymnastics. So these young, intelligent young women who have all displayed their intelligence this evening in their speech are not kids we want to lose to another corporation. Astoundingly, we have 1,827, and this is data from last year, so it's a year-old data. It doesn't match up with your 1,433 attendance. We had 1,509 students enrolled in our corporation at the latest data on the DOE website. Westview has over 400 more than we do. This may be the staggering statistic. We have more school-age kids in our school corporation than they do. We have 1827. They have 1756. We have 424 kids that get up every morning in our school corporation and don't want to come to Lakeland.
You mean that live in our district?
Yes.
That's what you're saying. Okay.
Yep.
356 net transfer.
That's a net, right. But we have 424 that leave. Fortunately, we have 68 that come back here through other means, whether it's online schooling or something else. But we have 425. That's a quarter of our population that doesn't want to send their kids to Lakeland. These are the kind of things that cause that havoc that these kids, if you start sending those kids to go over to Angola to do gymnastics, this young lady over there, I don't know why she would stay here. If she's in love with gymnastics, I'm going somewhere else. We lose $3.3 million annually as a corporation because of all the kids that live here that don't want to go to school here. Prairie Heights, since 2018, has gained about 75 students. Not all corporations are losing students. They're not. They're gaining students. Westview has lost some. We've lost a lot of students. We're down to 1433. We are the most populous kid corporation in the county. And through attrition, over the next 3 or 4 years, we're going to probably lose another 80 to 100 kids. We may end up being the smallest corporation, where we were once the largest corporation in LaGrange County. We're about 112 students away from that right now. Probably less than that, based on current data. That is a staggering statistic that these kind of things are impactful enough to maybe, because, and everybody already mentioned it, if we want to be a destination corporation, we have to offer something somebody else doesn't. And that gymnastics, we have a solid program. We have a honestly pretty sizable program compared to a lot of these schools that come here to compete. A lot of them have 1, 2, 3 kids, but they still travel from Whitco. They travel from Crown Point. They travel from all over the place to come here and compete because our facilities are good. They wouldn't let us do sectionals here if our facilities weren't good enough to do sections. It's a big deal, and it can be a destination for gymnastics.
Yeah.
So if that's part of what we're trying to do, It doesn't make any sense to get rid of it.
I know I already
That's
spoke.
okay, go ahead.
I would like to ask, what are the requirements for the middle school gymnastics code? Like, what would you need to qualify for that, I guess?
So you would need to have experience as a gymnast, and we look for upper level experience, preferably beyond high school level. I believe all our coaches have to be 21. Is that correct, Brian?
They have to be 21 to drive the bus.
You have to be 21 to drive the bus. Okay.
They don't have to be. There's no requirement on that, but we very rarely hire anybody less than that unless we have no other options.
I was 19.
Yeah, they probably had no other options.
I turned 19.
But it was a good hire.
They have no other.
One last comment. If we have just 2 kids leave because of gymnastics, we're talking about $16,000 annually that we're going to lose, which more than compensates, because a floor is going to last more than 10 years. So we have something that's going to more than compensate for the duration of when they go to school.
That's a valid point.
So.
Okay, go ahead.
Sure. I just wanted to share. Over my lifetime, I've been to over 3 different schools, and I remember the disappointment every single time I have nothing that really stuck out. Oh, I just have to go move to another school again. I always had nothing to look forward to. I remember as a little girl, I've also competed in over 8 different sports on my lifetime, and never in my life have I had any kind of bond or mental growth and physical growth that I've had in the sport of gymnastics. And also, I remember when I got told I was going to have to move schools again. I was so disappointed. I had nothing to look forward to. It was going to be my first year going into high school, middle school, and I was so disappointed. And I remember when I moved here, and I came and I heard about Lakeland. I was researching about Lakeland, and something that stuck out in my eye where I was ecstatic about it. It was Lakeland Gymnastics Program. Never in my life have any of the other schools offered any kind of programs like that. I've had to spend hundreds of dollars on gymnastics programs, having to drive over 30 minutes to go to gyms that were overpriced lessons. I remember having to go there, and I was so excited. It was the first time I was going to be able to look forward to something. I just thought that was an example of how other people can do how this could be a destination.
Very good, thank you. Is there anything else from the board?
Can I say something? I didn't do a paper. Is that okay? I've got like 1 minute. I just want to say something, if that's
60
okay.
seconds.
60
go.
seconds. I just want to say that my girls share the love of softball, that these girls share for gymnastics. I can guarantee you, bet your bottom dollar, that if you guys took softball away from my kids, we would absolutely change school districts. There's no doubt about it. So there is a good chance that we would lose all the, you guys call them little numbers, 7 varsity, 8 junior high athletes to a different school. And that does add up. And then the $30,000 over in between 2 years, it's only $15,000 a year that we would be saving. It doesn't seem like that much when you look at the overall picture. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Okay.
Right.
I do have one testimonial from the Trine coach. She wanted to say something. It's really quick.
Okay.
I'll speed read. Okay. Her name is Michaela Sutherland. Although I'm not able to present, I would like to express my gratitude and support to Lakeland Gymnastics team. I have had the opportunity to coach several youth teams as well as the acrobatics and tumbling team at Trine University. From my experience as both an athlete and coach, I have seen firsthand how transformative gymnastics can be for young women. The sport builds discipline, confidence, leadership, and resilience early on that these athletes carry with them and use not only in college but for the rest of their lives. This past year, my team of full-team students were able to break 2 records, maintain an average GPA of about 3.5, and several of them also work part-time jobs. Without the dedication, discipline, and time management skills they learned from high school gymnastics, this would not have been possible. High school gymnastics also creates opportunities and encourages young women to go to college. With several programs like stunt and acrobatics and tumbling on the rise, college coaches are seeking out these dedicated and hardworking young women. Cutting this program will narrow several of your own students' opportunities who already often face fewer options than most male athletes. I was able to recruit and sign 2 student athletes from Lakeland Gymnastics team this year for my 2025-26 roster. We are very excited to have them be a part of our team, and we're looking forward to hopefully continuing to recruit and provide opportunities to students at Lakeland High School.
Thank you. I appreciate that. At this time, I would entertain a motion for item 2, dissolution of the gymnastics program. Do I have a motion?
I'm gonna motion we table it. I'd like to discuss this further with, Dr. Blaze and Ryan, and maybe possibly put a date on maybe finding a coach or something. So I would like to table it. I'll make a motion to table it.
Okay, hearing no motion to dissolve dissolve the gymnastics program. I have a motion to table. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from the board?
I would, when we table this, that means it's basically unended, but I wanna make sure that we come up with a game plan to how we're gonna get an end to this. That's not end of the program, just into a date, a certain time, we're gonna make a decision.
I would say to people in this room, you have the best network. As board members, we're not involved in gymnastics. I don't think any of us have kids in gymnastics as of now, but you will be invaluable in coach search, and please stay engaged. I mean, you guys want this, and we want to make it happen. But there's always, our network is so big of what we do, and you guys have a strong connection from probably when you guys were very little, to try to recruit a coach. And for me looking at this, and I can only speak for me, that is the biggest issue of this. So yeah, let's find a good coach that can stay around for a long time. But we need a date, so that's on us.
Sue, do you have anything?
Well, yes, I do. I don't know quite how to say it. If we go with the tabling, we don't vote on the dissolution at all. Is
That's
that
correct. It'll die. Yeah.
So I would rather take the vote on the dissolution and not table it at this point.
So, okay, so we have a motion and a second to table it. We will vote to table it. If you, we'll have to vote on that.
No one made the motion
No.
for the dissolution. The motion was to table. Which means it'll come up at the next board meeting.
Unless you
Unless
guys
you
vote
want
it
a
down.
motion.
You can vote the motion down.
Yeah, you could vote it down.
Yeah, right. I'm just trying to think through a timeline here. I'm not against tabling it, but, well, I guess I am against tabling it. That just prolongs. I think we need to make a decision that either to keep it or not to keep it. So we know whether to search for a coach or,
Whether we table it or we vote it down, we still have to look for a coach. So if we don't dissolve the program, they're gonna look for the coach. If we table it, they still gotta look for a coach.
I think what Ryan and I have heard from the board here tonight is that you want us to reopen the search for a coach, so we will repost.
but if we vote on the dissolution and it doesn't pass, you're still looking for, I think what I'm trying to say is we're leaving it in limbo.
But if it would pass and we didn't give them an opportunity, then, I mean, that's worse than tabling
Basically,
it.
we are leaving it limbo, and we will set a date, and then that's when we'll make that decision, if they can find a coach or not find a coach. We table it.
I mean, the fact is, if we don't find a coach, we can't have a team.
No,
We have to have
I
someone to coach.
totally understand that. I'm just trying to not make it so that it's dangling for these kids.
So the motion right now is to
Motion and
table.
second, we gotta
So we need
go
to
on to
vote
that.
on that, whether, and you can vote against tabling it and then make the motion for the other,
Yep.
if it fails.
I just want to add my discussion to the piece. I'm not in favor of dissolving the program. And my ask to everyone in this room that is a big support of the program, and many of you talked about this being a destination corporation and how this is, gymnastics puts us on the map of just a few in the state. I think that we people in this room could do a really good job of promoting that Lakeland does do this. This is something we do, and we can showcase that and spotlight that more. And that's a positive thing that we could bring, and not bring negative things. It's an opportunity for us to be out there. I wrote some things down. It's a great opportunity when we bring in people from Fort Wayne, Elkhart, all over the place. We get to showcase our building. We're promoting our school every time we bring people in. I've been in some of the meets, and there's actually surprisingly a lot more people than you would think that come to those meets. I know it doesn't fill the gym like basketball, but every time I go in there, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of people here. So I think it's a great opportunity. I mean, all of the people that come in are going to walk right through our brand new Hall of Fame and our grand hallway that we're redoing with the Hall of Fame, and they're going to get to see all of that. So that's my take on it. But I'm asking all of you to help promote Lakeland in a positive manner moving forward. And I think you'll do that if we're out here looking for a coach too, right? So
I have one more question. If we table this tonight, is that going to hinder trying to find a coach?
No, we'll look. So if I even coach 2 days a week, would that be okay, or is that?
We need somebody full time so that these girls get the necessary skill set.
It shouldn't hinder it. I mean, basically table it at that time, we will ask to repost it and then put a deadline onto that post. If it's September 1st, October 1st, November 1st, whatever it is.
Together between a couple different people, that's okay, but like just having a part-time coach moving forward with that, it doesn't sound like a good plan to me at least. But
is it going to hinder any kind of a summer program?
There's not really anything happening at the moment. Usually we do have some summer practices, but there's none going on right now.
okay. So I have a motion to table and a second. It seemed there is no more discussion. All in favor of tabling? Opposed? Abstain? We have one opposed. The motion carries to table. The motion to dissolve dies.
I want you guys to know that I'm not against the program. I just wanted to move a little quicker than the rest of the board wants to move, which that's okay. I'm used to being the lame duck.
Since you tabled it, do we have to pay for the hospitality?
Yeah.
That's in the minutes, it's been recorded.
I haven't wrote down. We will be doubling it now.
Yeah, we're hosting everything now, right?
I do kind of want to address the fact that nothing was done in a sneaky way. What we do is, I do research, and then I make a recommendation to the board, and they discuss it in a public meeting, and we take a vote in a public meeting. That is how our business is supposed to run. So, there was no intent of anything.
And the other thing is we do this because we'll have to be fiscally, we ask her to bring stuff to us, it's cost cutting or whatever we need to do because it's losing money, so we all have to be up and look at those kind of things. And we're continuing to look at every program and everything we do in the future because state's not gonna make it any easier come next year and the following year and the following year. So let's just get to work now and see what we can come up with.
Ryan, go ahead.
Can I say?
Yeah.
Sorry. No, to piggyback on what Dr. Blaze was saying, I understand how it could feel that way, like this just happened without any public input or anything. It did happen fairly quickly, but I just want to say when Dr. Blaze let me know that she was going to recommend this, that was maybe middle of last month, 3 weeks ago, something like that. I reached out to Linda and Cheryl to talk to them both, and we had a conversation a couple weeks ago. And the point of that conversation was because whatever decision is made, I don't want anything to feel like it's swept under the rug. I know that's happened at other schools, and so we talked, and they knew that this proposal was coming. I told them they were welcome to talk to any board members if they wanted to, share their opinions, that they were welcome to invite people. Obviously, they took that to heart. So it did happen quickly, but I wanted to make sure that they knew that it was happening and could talk to the gymnastics community around here to let people know about that.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Which I like, and my emotions obviously are very heightened over this. Like, but I guess I just feel like, yes, you talk to them, but what if, like, in moving forward for canceling any sort of programs, I'm talking anything. Like, I feel like taking those stakeholders aside and preparing them, or having a meeting with the gymnastics girls saying, this is a possibility.
Sure.
This is going to the board. Because really, I've known possibly for a little bit, but we haven't shared that because we didn't want to spread false things either.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't going to be if it wasn't a possibility. So I guess when I said that, like, obviously I said it did. Linda posted it on whatever day that was, Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt like it was just like rug right from underneath them.
Sure.
If they didn't know. So.
Yeah, I understand that feeling.
And it might have been partially our misunderstanding as well, that we thought it was just a discussion, not necessarily like, hey, this could happen like now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we understood fully, like, this is really going down.
I do want to say too that the gymnastics community is very polite when they are against something. I answered at least 15 emails over the past day and a half. And they were all written very nicely. There was nobody that was rude or unkind in any way. They spoke so highly of Linda and Cheryl, and I felt bad that in some of the comments they felt like this was something I'm doing, or the board or the district is doing against you, and that is not the case at all. That you had done a wonderful program, and you stuck with it longer than most coaches stick with anything. So, kudos to you guys and what you built in this community, because it's amazing.
Thank you for hearing us, and thank you everyone that came in to support us. We really appreciate it.
I'll go ahead real quick.
What's the corporation's policy on raising money and putting money towards a specific project or program?
So we do have an extracurricular fund that we can take funds like a booster.
Can it be gymnastics specific?
Mm-hmm.
We give sponsorships through businesses, and they have done that, sponsored specific programs. So yes, it can be specific.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All donations have to be voted on and accepted by the board.
What about the governance of the money? In other words, I know the State Board of Accounts, at least the years I was in business, had a lot of problems with people pilfering from athletic funds, specific funds, camp funds, things of that sort.
Well, that we're audited on those. We just went through an ECA audit.
Do you have that structure?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's very strict.
They give me credit.
Yes. I again, thank you all for being here. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, or you're welcome to leave as well. I don't want you to feel like you.
Good job. Good job, girl.
If you guys are moving, watch if I record.
Hey, Katie, I don't want to know what
Red cross. Never mind. Somebody take my job.
Well, I'm not gonna lie.
Thanks for your
Before my
Same.
Well, I probably should. I'm sorry.
sorry. Nope, you're okay. You're okay. I'm not in a
Don't
great
spread
spot.
rumors like that, Jared.
Is your name
Annie.
Thanks.
Yes. Oh, yes. Ah, perfect. It's like a third today. I'll go there for a picture of the Lakeland kids.
I'm trying to make it where you can back up, so you don't have to
If
sit
you
up
give
to the
me
table.
heads up. Hold on.
Made it through the hard part.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I
I'm just gonna scoot everything up.
thought you were gonna tag me one with that.
Not today. Brett, are you recessing?
No, I'll be right back.
Going.
Thank you.
Okay.
Got the cord, right?
Making sure the truck's out of the way.
Yeah, make sure. He's gonna take one for the team. No?
So don't everybody sit in the front.
Yeah.
Get in.
But I'm gonna tell you this.
So you have to.
Okay. We'll move on to item 3, that's performance goals.
So, as part of our agreement with Katie for our PR position, we do set goals for her that are tied to some of her wages. So you have those goals before you and what that means.
Can't close.
You can't close it.
Yeah, we don't need it closed. It's open.
Keep it open.
The people outside, I think, are
Then they need to
affecting.
move over.
They need to go outside or something.
Yeah, we can't close it.
Can they do that outside?
Picking everything up.
Okay.
Nope.
So, go ahead, I'm so sorry.
Sorry,
I'm
it's
just
an open
asking
meeting.
if you approve the goals that you had helped set for her so that you can have those in place.
Well, now we get to talk about Kate.
Right.
No, you can't talk about personality.
Oh, yeah. I'll make a motion.
Second.
We had a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries, 100%. Item 4, policy 6250.
Policy 6250, we are required that the board review this policy every year and approve 3 items that parents may use to prove their residency. Parents only need to do this when initially enrolling with us, enrolling their student with us, and if they move from year to year. So the 3 items that we have in the policy are a current utility bill, a current mortgage statement, or a current rental lease agreement. All items must be dated within 60 days. That is what the State Board of Accounts considers current of the date that they are submitted. So these items can be hard copy given to the attendance secretary, or they can upload them in Power School during the registration process. But there's a list of about 10 different items that are acceptable, but the state requires that we pick 3.
Entertain a motion to approve policy.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Or anything from the policy committee to highlight? Okay.
And this is just the one policy we have to review, not the huge
Can you
batch
read it to
policy.
me?
Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Motion carried. Item 5, ECA spending.
Okay, ECA spending, something new that came up in one of our audits is that the State Board of Accounts requires you to approve the building principals to be able to spend the extracurricular funds that they have. So rather than that coming up at different times during the year, I would like to make it an annual July event and have you approve the spending for all of the buildings and the athletic department ECA funds. This allows them to buy equipment for recess or whatever else that they need with fundraising.
Do I have a motion?
So
to-
moved.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
This is major pain.
Yeah, so one fell swoop, I thought was the best way to do it.
Item 6, overnight.
Yep, overnight field trips. This is another fairly easy one, but something that we often run into is we don't know that someone's gonna qualify for an event that requires an overnight trip. And overnight trips are required to be approved by the board, so we've often come to you after our athletes have stayed overnight somewhere because they have to be at that regional event at that particular time and we don't have a meeting in between. So some of those things that we know are, this is a general for any athlete that would qualify and would need an overnight trip during the school year. And then pre-approval for known trips such as our DECA students who go to competitions and the FFA conference. So there may be others that come up during the year. In fact, I think in the consent agenda, there are 2 for the summer, for summer programs and sports. But this will take care of the majority of what we know may happen.
And we pay for coaches and drivers and overnight expenses.
Yes. There's per diems involved.
Per diem. I know that, like, I don't have a problem approving all the field trips. I just know that this actual topic came up in some other districts of overreaching with extracurricular overnight trips. So I'm just, it was actually a discussion that got brought to me from another district, but I feel like we're always responsible with ours. So that's my only 2 cents. So, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Board policy 37.
Okay, this was fun. And I have to tell you that 4 of the policies that you are approving tonight, I just got a new batch from Neola and they're already revising them. So I will have another 16 policies next month to bring to you with revisions, some are repeats. So there were 54 different policies in this packet that needed modified or rescinded. Some of those changes are just technical changes where you're only changing a word or they added a period, they changed shalls to may or mays to shalls. So a lot of it is that, and all of them are to make sure that we are in compliance with the laws as passed in the last legislative session. I don't think that there were any that are any shock to anyone.
So we got a summary, everybody got a summary of the policy and then a summary of the change.
And if anybody wants to see them, they're in this packet. Somewhere.
I'll entertain a motion to approve this, volume 37.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? We have fun.
I did have fun.
Okay.
Well, probably slept good.
Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Motion carries, none opposed. That brings us to 8.
Okay, 8 is bids for bread, vegetables, and milk. Much of this we do through the Educational Services Center, so this is just letting you know what those bids are for this year.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I see Lisa's not here. Was there any? There wasn't anything. I'm looking at it. It doesn't mean a lot to me. I don't know.
I
Is there
looked
anything
at it,
outstanding?
No, there's not. We work through the Educational Service Center, so what they do is they do group bids so that we get the lowest price on it. So that should be what she.
Okay.
If I remember right, she said something about the milk prices were like 3 cents less a carton. I know it seems like huge money. It really is though, actually. It seems like, yeah, it is. It's like she said 3 cents less, and I was like, okay, like, but that is a lot of money. I don't know. That was just one thing I remember and I discussed.
I already drank the milk and put the vegetables in it.
See if we just.
I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion on bread, vegetables, and milk? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Number 9 is food service prices.
Yes, we have to set those in the July meeting each year, so we are still community eligible, so breakfast and lunch for our students will be free, but I believe we still have to set a cost for that and a cost for the adult meals, so that should be what she shared with you.
Yeah, it's in here. Yeah. Entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
The motion is second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. We are on 10. That is bus routes, and I know she's been waiting patiently.
Chomping at the bit to talk about bus routes.
Really, there's not going to be any changes. The one change that I am making, and it's because we don't have a choice, and we wouldn't want to do it any different, is we're making the walk zone for primary essentially 9 and 20. We can't have littles crossing 20. We can't have big students crossing 20. So that's really the only change. Going to morning impact, we are going to have to pull a driver off of AM routes. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's just one driver, depending on how large our students are and how snugly we can get them on the impact bus. Because I believe we have like 61 going in the morning.
That sounds really right.
Yeah. So, yeah, approximately trying to
Not
snuggle.
August 14th yet. We don't know for
Yeah.
sure.
Trying to snuggle that many of them on a bus. We're gonna attempt to get away with one bus, maybe one bus and bus 50, which would be like a 20 passenger bus. But other than that, there's not a whole lot to routes changing. We've condensed in the previous 2 years I've been here, we've condensed and tried to make it where it makes logistical sense to save money fuel wise and maintenance wise. So that's really all I got.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any more discussion or questions?
Uh-oh. No, I'm ahead.
Seeing none.
Sorry.
Who is approved? Okay. Motion carries.
Sorry, forget.
You threw me way
I have to bathroom.
out there. Okay. 11 is the Delta Dental Agreement.
Yes, I will talk about 11 and 12 kind of together.
That's fine.
With the same thing. These are both insurance options that we offer to employees. They're completely employee paid, but we do have to have a contract with the company for that, so that's what we have for you, and we separate each. I believe our dental rates increased quite a bit. The reason for that is when we join a program, we don't have any past history with them. So they kind of guesstimate what it'll be, and now that we've been with them for a year and everybody woohoo was gung ho about having dental insurance and used it a lot, the rates do increase a little bit. So.
Yeah. $4 and $7. Yeah. Okay. Entertain a motion to approve item 11.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor? Motion carries. Number 12 is the dental agreement. Sorry,
It's
the
with
vision.
Delta Dental, but it's vision.
Yeah, that is very key. Okay.
Yeah.
Vision part of the agreement. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second from Sue. All in favor? Motion carries.
Oh, I wish we had that when I was teaching.
I've heard good things from some of the employees about having that.
That is a great asset to employees.
Yeah. All right, 13 is employments.
So I'm
Anything
under employments, I would just like to highlight that we had several teachers that stepped up to help individually test our third graders on the iRead exam, and once those scores are not embargoed, we can share what our percentage is. We cannot do that at this point. We do see some dual credit stipends. Those are for our teachers who teach our dual credit in upper level classes. Really want to highlight our paraprofessional literacy stipends because these paras went through some pretty serious literacy training, and I think it's wonderful that they stepped up to do that and that we can pay them for that. So we also had letter stipends on there. We also have one of our recent graduates as a transportation intern right now, and we have some teachers that we are adding to the crew. So lots of good things on there.
Yes, thank you. Entertain a motion to approve the appointments.
Moved.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, motion carries. Welcome to Lakeland. 14, our transfers.
So in the transfers, we just have some level changes for some teachers and I believe a para, and then we have some coaching changes and levels. So that's that.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, motion carries. 15 are volunteers.
Volunteers are an important part of our program, so we appreciate that Oscar Montoya and Brian Watchman are assisting with the boys soccer program, and Andrew Wood will be volunteering in the football program.
He's pretty good.
Entertain a motion to approve the volunteers.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second from Kara. All in favor? Motion carries. We have some resignations.
We do have some resignations, not very many. So one resignation is for PLC leader, and that is a teacher that is changing positions within our corporation, so we can no longer lead that PLC. We have 2 coaches that are resigning, and then we have Katie Papey, who was our art teacher. Just couldn't get all the red and black out of her system, and she's going to her alma mater, Prairie Heights.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
A motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. We are moving to the consent agenda. The item you've all waited for.
The only items to highlight in there is, as I mentioned, there are 2 overnight camps for 2 different athletic programs.
Entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Public comments at this time. Is there any more public comments? Go ahead.
Since it's July, it's now my time to send out an email about getting senior project ideas, so I'll send that to the board as well. I always appreciate the great ideas that come from others, which helps give the kids some options for things to do. I think on our radar is to paint a tricycle course now that we have pre-K at the primary school. So when you see that, I love to take any and all suggestions, ideas, and hopefully that can foster itself into a senior project. Excellent. And beware, principals, you may have to have meetings with some of the kids. So. Heads up.
It's always fun.
Yes. Go ahead.
I just want to thank you for being so gracious and listening and commenting back and talking through it. I mean, Tracy, you said that you were thankful that everybody was very polite, and I think that speaks to the kind of sport it is too and how they learn, but you guys were also very engaging with them and very understanding in this. And it may come to that, but they at least feel heard, and so I appreciate you and your demeanor with all of us also. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
We're hoping Jason's wife apologizes later.
No, Jason.
Apologize. But she is paying for the
Yeah.
Hospitality.
You can all come to the hospitality room.
See you there. Knows I didn't say names, that's who Jason. Bye.
I wanna know where that hospital Hallway room is.
It's usually in that first little classroom around the corner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right in Shirley's room.
I think they said it's gonna be at their pool too.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just
No,
wondering if there was any updates with things we have discussed the past 6 months or so. If there's any updates or anything that you can share with me that's maybe been placed to help with the situation, or if there's just anything new.
So we have, I believe, 15 more people going to the conscious discipline training, so we'll have more of our elementary staff trained in that. I don't know, did all 15 go now, or did we have a second group going?
There's 11 are going in a week, so I think, yeah, there's a handful down there now.
Yeah.
2 from LIS I know are down there.
So we have a group now and a group going later to make sure that we keep up with all of that. We are still, the co-op is still looking for an ED teacher for the ED program at the primary, as that teacher has moved to a different program. So we're waiting to see how that shakes out.
Kim did, I don't know if you were at the last meeting, we did hire
We
another
did hire
full-time
a
para.
full-time para, so that we will have 2 paras that are focused on behavior at the program.
So that's an addition.
Will we still be hosting the other schools? Will they still bring their kids to ours?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's part of our agreement with the co-op.
Yeah, and no other schools would.
They did not have room for it.
They wouldn't help us out with that. To be quite frank, they just wouldn't. So.
But we're still, the sensory room's still in place.
Yes.
All the things remain the same.
They're still in place. Yep.
All right, thank you. Board member comments. Nobody, nothing. Okay. My calendar review got removed.
On the back page.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. August 13th. August 13th.
Yeah.
Day before school starts.
Alright, timing, just how it falls.
Entertain a motion to
So moved.
adjourn.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor,